Thomas and Friends. The adventure begins. A long time ago on the island of Sodor, there was a little railway known as the Northwestern. The smallest engine working on the main line was Edward. He helped with shunting trucks and coaches in the yard for the larger engines. The biggest engine on the railway was Gordon. He loved pulling the express, but he didn't much care for some of his other jobs. Gordon doesn't like pulling heavy goods trains, but he especially didn't like pulling them up the big hill on the main line. The man in charge of the little railway was Sir Topham Hatt, but the engines used to call him the Fat Controller. It was his job to make sure all the trains ran on time. Later, Edward was back in the yard when he heard a voice he'd never heard before. Edward couldn't believe his eyes. The new engine had 6 small wheels, a short stumpy boiler, a short stumpy dome, and a short stumpy funnel. That night, Thomas was the smallest engine at Tidmouth Sheds, but at least his new friend Edward was there too. The next morning, the Fat Controller sent Thomas to the steamworks to be painted in the colors he liked to see on the Northwestern Railway. Thomas wasn't used to working in the yard on his own. It was very busy all day long. The next morning, Thomas found it hard to wake up. His fire went out, and there wasn't enough steam. At last, Thomas started. Gordon hadn't forgiven Thomas for waking him up from his nap. He started up so quickly that there was no time to uncouple Thomas. Poor Thomas was going faster than he had ever gone before. He was out of breath and his wheels hurt him, but he had to go on. Poor Thomas puffed slowly away to rest and had a long, long drink. The next day, he was back in the yard again. One morning, Henry wasn't feeling well. He wouldn't come out of the shed. Thomas waited and waited, but Henry still didn't come. Thomas raced around to the front of the coaches and backed up to them with a bump. But Thomas was far too excited and not really listening. Thomas heard a guard's whistle, so he took off before his coaches could be coupled up. Back at the station, the passengers were all talking at once, telling the Fat Controller what a bad railway it was. This time, Thomas waited to be coupled up, and for the passengers to climb on board. The other engines thought it was very funny when they heard the story of Thomas's train. The next morning, Thomas could hardly contain his excitement. The Fat Controller was not just cross with Thomas. He was cross with Edward, too. He told both his engines that they would have to stay in the yard until Thomas could learn as much about trucks as Edward. Thomas was hurrying back to Tidmouth Sheds to find Henry. Thomas worked hard in the yard now. He knew that he wasn't as clever as he had thought. Besides, he wanted to learn all about coaches and trucks to be a really useful engine. At last, James was lifted safely onto the track. The Fat Controller had come to make sure that everyone was okay. That night, the other engines were very happy to see Thomas indeed. Even Gordon seemed impressed. A few days later, an engine came into the yard that Thomas and Edward had never seen before. Ooh, oof, ow, ooh, ow, ooh, ow, ow. Ooh, ouch, ooh. Ooh, ow, ooh, oi. Give it a rest. Ooh, whoa, oh. Slow down, it's too fast. Hold back, hold back. On, on, on. On, on, on. On, faster, faster. Faster, faster. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Oh dear, go gently, go gently. Judy, emergency. Oh, where's the accident? Or is it a breakdown? A bridge out? It was a false alarm, Judy. Never mind. I mean, you don't want to go wasting time. Judy! Emergency! Right! Crew! Up! How you got them at the front there, Judy? Me too. Let's go! You're alright. You're alright.